Princess Alice of Battenberg, mother of Prince Philip, lived in Greece during World War II. Despite the dangers of Nazi occupation, she hid a Jewish family in her home in Athens, protecting them from deportation. Alice also ran an orphanage and continued her humanitarian work under extremely difficult conditions, providing food and shelter to those in need. Her position as a member of the royal family gave her both access and cover, but she risked arrest and imprisonment by the occupying forces. For her courage and selfless actions, Princess Alice was recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations. She spent her life demonstrating compassion and moral courage, and even later in life continued charitable work until her death in 1969. Her example shows that influence and privilege can be used to save lives when combined with bravery and conviction. In 1940s France, Éva Durrleman, a nurse director who co-founded and led the Ambroise Paré Hospital and Nursing School in Lille, quietly acted to save Jewish lives. She was born in 1891 and trained in Bordeaux, then in the early 1920s established her hospital school to train nurses. When World War II broke out and Nazi occupation began, she used her position and facilities to protect Jewish men, women and children from deportation. Alongside Thérèse Mater and Franz Neubert, Durrleman sheltered people in the hospital, helped them avoid detection, and later reunited surviving Jewish siblings, such as the Varian brothers, ensuring they found safe homes with Jewish families. Though her hospital continued its normal work under difficult conditions, she and her allies made extra efforts, offering refuge, forging paths to safety, and risking reprisals. Her actions were officially recognized when Yad Vashem declared Éva Durrleman, Thérèse Mater, and Franz Neubert righteous among the nations on the 29th of November, 1990. She lived to be 101, dying in 1993. Her legacy remains a model of compassion and courage shown from within everyday institutions. In 1940, Varian Fry, an American journalist, traveled to Marseille to help artists, writers, intellectuals, and Jews escape Nazi persecution. France was divided, with the Vichy regime collaborating with the Nazis, and thousands of refugees were trapped in southern France. Arriving with a list of endangered individuals and limited funds, Fry set up the Centre Américain de Secours and built a small team of volunteers. They provided transit visas, forged documents, shelter, and organized both legal and clandestine routes across the Spanish border. Over 13 months, Fry helped about 2,000 people escape, including well-known figures like Marc Chagall, Hannah Arendt, and Heinrich Mann. Constantly under surveillance and harassment from authorities, he was eventually expelled from France in 1941. He became the first American recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations in 1994. Varian Fry's story shows how determination and ingenuity can save thousands of lives even in the darkest times. During World War II, Polish social worker Irena Sendler used her position in Warsaw's welfare department to enter the Jewish ghetto under the guise of inspecting sanitary conditions. There she smuggled out Jewish children, hiding them in ambulances, toolboxes, sacks, and through secret passages. Working with a clandestine network known as Jagota, she and her team saved an estimated 2,500 children. Sendler recorded each child's real name and new identity on thin slips of paper, burying them in jars so families could be reunited after the war. In 1943, she was arrested by the Gestapo, tortured, and sentenced to death, but members of the underground managed to bribe her guards and help her escape. She continued her rescue work in hiding. Recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations in 1965, Irena Sendler became a lasting symbol of courage, compassion, and moral resistance under unimaginable danger. Jane Haining was a Scottish missionary who ran the girls' home at the Scottish Mission School in Budapest before and during World War II. She refused repeated orders to return to Britain after Hungary allied with Nazi Germany, insisting she would not abandon the mostly Jewish children in her care. When anti-Jewish measures tightened, Haining did everything she could to protect her pupils, providing food, clothing, and moral support, and even taking in more children, as others were forced out of their homes. In 1944, she was arrested by the Gestapo, accused of working with Jews, listening to the BBC, and spying. She was deported to Auschwitz, where she continued to comfort and assist other prisoners until she died there later that year. Jane Haining was posthumously recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations in 1997. Her steadfast choice to stay with her students made her one of Scotland's most honored heroines of the Holocaust era. Periklis Kallidopoulos was a Greek army officer, later a politician, born in 1878 in Thessaloniki. During the Axis occupation of Greece in World War II, he and his teenage son Alexandros lived near the Cohen family, Jewish neighbors in Thessaloniki. When Jews were confined to the ghetto, Kallidopoulos quietly aided the Cohens, bringing them food, money, and other basic necessities. When mass deportations began in March 1943, he and Alexandros sheltered the Cohen brothers in their own home. As soon as it was safe, they helped them escape. Some were moved to Athens, in the Italian-occupied zone. Others joined resistance movements. Alexandros also helped other Jews, arranging hiding places, safe passage, and medical help for the sick. For these acts, Periklis and Alexandros Kallidopoulos were honored by Yad Vashem in 1989 as righteous among the nations. His example shows how ordinary relationships, neighbors helping neighbors, can turn into life-saving courage under extraordinary danger. Khaled Abdelwahhab was a wealthy Tunisian landowner living in the coastal town of Madaya during World War II. When German forces occupied Tunisia in late 1942, he used his influence and property to shelter Jews who were at risk of arrest, forced labor, or deportation. After learning that German officers planned to assault a Jewish woman, Abdelwahhab acted immediately. He drove her and about 24 other Jews, men, women, and children, to his family's farm outside town. There he hid them for 4 months, providing food, shelter, and protection until Allied forces liberated the area in 1943. He took these risks without payment or formal backing, motivated purely by a sense of honor and humanity. In 2007, Khaled Abdelwahhab became the first Arab ever nominated for recognition as righteous among the nations by Yad Vashem. Although his case remains under review and he has not yet been officially recognized, his story is widely cited as a rare but powerful example of rescue in North Africa during the Holocaust. In 1939, Martha Ingham Dickey Sharp, a social worker from Rhode Island, left her 2 young children in Massachusetts to join her husband, Unitarian minister Waitstill Sharp, on a dangerous mission in Europe. Under the Unitarian Service Committee, they helped Jews and other refugees escape Nazi persecution. In Prague, just before the German occupation, Martha organized visas, transit papers, and scholarships to move people out of danger. Later, in Marseille, she coordinated the escape of 29 children and 10 adults from Vichy, France, to the United States in 1940, personally meeting some of them when they arrived safely. Constantly under Gestapo threat, she relied on courage, improvisation, and relentless work to save lives. For these actions, Martha and her husband were recognized by Yad Vashem in 2005 as righteous among the nations, 2 of only a handful of Americans to receive that honor. Her story shows how determined individuals can save lives even in the darkest times. Gijsbertje Duizer was a Dutch woman living in the Netherlands during World War II. When the Nazis occupied her country, she witnessed her Jewish neighbors being arrested and deported. Determined to help, she began hiding Jewish families in her home, often at great personal risk. She provided food, shelter, and forged documents, and guided them on how to avoid Nazi patrols and registration. Over several years, she repeatedly put herself in danger to protect these people, refusing payment or recognition at the time. Her efforts extended beyond immediate shelter. She helped some escape to safer regions and reunited families when possible. For her extraordinary courage and selflessness, Gijsbertje Duizer was recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations, remembered as a quiet hero whose bravery saved lives during the Holocaust. During World War II, Augustine Le May, a French farmer from Bouillon in Brittany, risked her life to shelter a Jewish family. After the arrest and deportation of Madame Langer during the Veldave Roundup in July 1942, her husband, Michel Langer, sought refuge with his mother and youngest son. When they ran out of money, they found shelter with Augustine, who welcomed them into her home, despite already caring for her 4 children. Michel and his son contributed to farm work and crafted wooden clogs to support themselves. In April 1944, they were betrayed by a former host and arrested by the Gestapo. Michel managed to escape and joined the resistance, while his son Maurice was deported, but later escaped near Belfort and joined the resistance as well. Michel's mother was deported and perished. In recognition of her bravery, Augustine Le May was honored as Righteous Among the Nations by Yad Vashem on June 18, 2007. Her story exemplifies the courage of ordinary individuals who risked everything to save others during the Holocaust.